cheating. Or I'll throw it up on the screen if you didn't bring a Bible with you, but I want you to know this is where these ideas come from today. I didn't make them up. He says, when tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me. And let's get this right straight away. James launches into this issue with when tempted. Not if tempted, when tempted. Here's what we know. Every single one of us will be tempted. It's not a case of if, it's a case of when. It will come. It will come in one way, shape, or form. It'll be something that will tempt you, and it's just going to come upon you. There are so many things that surround us and will tempt us. There may be things that you're facing right now that are tempting you. There may be things that you were tempted with and you withstood. There may be things that you were tempted with and you fell and you failed. But here's what we all know, especially as men, you will be tempted. You will be tested. And it will come upon you at some stage. Either way, whether it's a trial from without or a temptation from within, the question is, will you be found standing at the end of that situation? Will you be found strong at the end of that situation? Will your faith be intact? Will it be holding? And James wants to get something straight right away. He says, when tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me. You cannot blame God for the temptations. You cannot try and legitimize your temptations and your failure under temptation. And you might say to me, well, who on earth would do that? Who really would try and excuse their failure, their fallings, and blame God in some way for their temptations? Well, I'll tell you who the first person to do this was Adam. And if Adam did it, probability is that we're going to tend to do it too, because we tend to do everything that Adam did. So Adam was the first one. So you know the story. God places Adam and the beautiful Eve in the beautiful garden. And this is the place to live. It's awesome. It's fantastic. And he gives them one test. And the test is what? Adam and Eve, do not eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For when you eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which probably looks much like that apple. Is that right? Yeah. So, no. Who ate an apple? Which one of you guys ate an apple? But they were told, don't eat of that, because the day you do eat of that, you will die. And you know the story. Hey, what did they do? Ate the apple. Or no, they ate the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So you guys ate the apple. But then God confronted Adam about this issue, and here is his response. And he says, the woman that you put here with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree and I ate it. In other words, he's saying, you're to blame. God, you're to blame. You gave her to me, and she gave me the fruit, and she was naked. What was I to do? Because she was also pretty hot. And you put me in this situation. And so I took the fruit and I ate it. You're to blame. And so he tries to throw the blame back at God. And ever since then, we've been doing it all along. People have been doing this all the time. Falling to temptation and then blaming God, making up some excuse. God, you created these urges in me. And we know he did. You created these urges in me, and you made her so beautiful and a little loose, and you're to blame. Or, God, you created the sense of taste and that feeling of hunger, which are good things, right? But so are donuts. And the donuts look so good and smell so good, and it's your fault, God. Took the donuts. Or, God, you knew the tight situation I'm in. Since you are sovereign, and our pastor taught us that you're sovereign in control of all things, and you knew the tight situation I was in, you must have created the opportunity for me to take that money. It was right there, and nobody would know. You're to blame, and on and on and on. With whatever temptation we find ourselves faced with and falling to, the natural tendency is to find some excuse, and ultimately it's an excuse. We look to blame God, and probably other people as well. But that's the point. You can't blame God. You can't blame anyone else. And here's why you can't blame God, because he says, for God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. You think about it. God is like Teflon to evil. Evil can't stick to God. God is pure and holy and right and just. He is the opposite of evil. Evil is repelled by God. God can't be tempted by evil. Evil comes near God and it's just pushed away. It can't come near him. And there is no way that God is going to tempt anyone with evil, no matter what you might think or anyone might tell you. And here's why we know this. Because it flies against the character of God as we know him, as he has revealed himself to us. You think about it. God, the Father, sacrificed his own Son, so that we might be forgiven for our sins, brought into his forever family as a child of God, and given eternal life. Why or how could he possibly ever do anything that would go against that initiative that cost him the price of his very own Son? It's not going to happen, and it cannot happen, and it will never happen, because God cannot and will not tempt anyone. So you can't blame God. He did not tempt you. So the question then comes, where does it come from? How does this work, this temptation thing? James is going to tell us. And before we get there, I want to take you to another verse that I hope will help you appreciate what James has to say. It's found in Proverbs chapter 27, verse 12. And it says this: the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it. So I want you to imagine in your minds two roads. So we got ourselves walking along, and there are before us two roads that are before us. One road leads to life. Like my cool graphics that you can hardly see in this massive auditorium. One road leads to life, and the other road leads to death. And this, according to this passage, the prudent man is walking along the road and he sees danger up ahead. And what does it say he does? He sees danger and he takes refuge. He takes action. He does something about it. He sees danger and he goes, wait, danger, I better stop and turn around and go the other way. I might have to stop and hide, but I might even have to run. But whatever happens, I'm not going to take another step in this direction. It's danger. There's trouble ahead. There's death ahead. There's problems ahead. I'm not going to take another step here because I'm prudent. I'm wise. The wise person says, not another step in this direction. It's heading towards danger. So I take action and I go the other way. He says the simple person, however, on the same road comes along and he sees danger, and what does he do? He just keeps going. And it's not that he didn't see the danger, he sees the danger. He's not ignorant of the danger. If he was ignorant, in other words, he didn't know that there was danger, we might excuse him and say, well, he walked along the road, he just didn't know. He was simple. He was naive. That's the essence of that term. He was naive and simple enough to go, well, there's danger here, but I'm going to just keep going. And we look at that guy and say, oh, he's doorbell. You look at him and you can see there's something wrong. You can see he's on the road to danger. You can see where that's heading. You can see where that's going to go. You can see the danger, and you can see him, and you can see him going one step more, one step more, one step more, and you are shouting at you, fool, this is going to end up in trouble. Don't do it, dude. But he can't see it. He's simple. And sometimes we're a little like that, and this is kind of the wake-up call for all of us. Our natural instinct, because there's something about this which is enticing, especially to men. You see the danger, and what do you say? It's like if this is a cliff to the edge, you walk up to here, and your mom says, hey, get back from the edge. It's dangerous. What do you do? Get back from the edge, it's dangerous. Don't worry, Ma, I've got it. You're always going to take another step. Why? Because there's a thrill in that, isn't there? I've got this, don't worry. I've got this under control, and then one step closer to danger, but I still got control. I can still handle this. I can still do it. And you take one step closer, look, Ma, no hands. That's a simple. He sees the danger, and he keeps going. There's something about him that means he can't connect the dots. It's not that he doesn't know that there's danger, but he doesn't realize that every step he takes is one step towards that danger. Every decision he takes has a consequence. Every time he makes a decision to play with this danger, it's a decision, and it has a consequence. He can't see that another step closer is another step toward getting beyond his own control, beyond his ability, and ultimately being hurt by the danger. He can't see it. He can't connect the dots. So James is going to connect the dots. And James does this beautifully and very graphically paints the picture towards death ultimately in this situation. So back to James, he says that each one, so he says, God, we can't be tempted by God, God can't tempt people, but he says, but each one is tempted when, by his own evil desire, he's dragged away and enticed. The first step down this road begins when our own desires are awakened. And they drag us away. They entice us. It's like a cosmic, hey, come here, look at this. There's this calling, there's something, hey, this desire is awakened. And we've all got desires. Every single one of us. All of us have desires. God put them in us. And originally when God put them in us, they were good. And many times under control, they are all good. But the problem is because we're inherently sinful people, it's like our desires are sprayed with something that automatically turns them and attracts them to things that are not healthy or good for us. But we've all got these desires. For most of us, at most times, they're lying dormant. They're asleep. But you know what it's like. You're perfectly happy, you're functioning perfectly well, and you're walking down the road on the first day of your fitness campaign, and as you're walking down the road, you're doing well. And then, smell of donuts. What happens? The desire for donuts is awakened. It wasn't here. Here the smell comes, and our desire from within awakens and then entices us. It draws us away. Our own desire draws us into the donut shop. And I'm using the illustration of donuts, but you guys know very well, every single day of your life, my life, you're going to be enticed away. Your desires are going to be awakened. Things are going to be presented to you daily that will awaken some desire in you. And in our day and age, it's exceptionally high. You can't walk through the mall without seeing images of beautiful women on the walls, because that's how they sell stuff. And not just beautiful women on the walls, beautiful women walking in the mall. And you know what it's going to get you? Is that day, you're having that awesome day with your wife, and you're out, and you're happy, and it's cool, and in front of you walks this real stunner. She's just like, and what happens? That evil desire in you is awakened. And even if you entertain that for a second, you've ruined your day, haven't you? You know it. You've ruined your day. And that's what happens to us all the time. These images of desire come along, and they awaken desire in us. It might be the smell of a donut. It might be an open cash drawer. Whatever it is, you're going to get presented with offer after offer that seems so good, that's too good to be true. You're going to get that all your life. Things are going to be presented to you, and you're going to go, this I can't resist. This is just too good to be true. This is going to make us. Surely God wouldn't put this in front of us if it wasn't such an opportunity. So whether it's money or food or sex or whatever it is, we all have these natural desires in us, but which are awakened by stimulus. Stuff comes from the outside, and it awakens this desire. Now, some old timer once told me this cool little thing. He says, here's the thing. You can't stop a bird from flying into a tree, but you can stop it from making a nest. And here's the reality. You can't stop those stimulus, those things from coming your way. If you live in the world today, you will have birds fly into your tree. You're going to have things come your way. Things that will present themselves to you that will awake in you desires. You know it, I know it, let's not deny it. It will happen. It will happen. Your desires will be stimulated. That bird will fly into the tree. But here's where the first step of caution comes in, or wisdom comes in. You don't let that bird sit in the tree long enough to make a nest and start a family in your tree. You shake the tree, you beat the tree, you shoot the bird. Whatever you do, you can stop the bird from making a nest. And you do not let that desire stay in your heart, in your mind, in your thoughts for any amount of time, especially not long enough for it to begin to procreate. Because he says this. So we drag away and entice. Then, after desire is conceived, it's been there long enough to do what it has to do to conceive, and I think you all know that. Have we had that talk, the birds and the bees talk? You know how long it's, okay, that's a conceived bit. It's been there long enough to do the conceiving thing. If that desire has conceived, it then gives birth to sin, and when it is fully grown, gives birth to death. There's a process, there's a step, there are dots to be joined in this situation. When you join the dots, here's what it looks like. The desire comes in and it's awakened. And if you leave it there without seeing the danger and taking action immediately, without shaking the tree and getting rid of the bird, if you leave the desire there long enough, here's what will happen. It will conceive. Something will take place at that point. Let me just say, by the way, the point of desire being awakened is no harm done. Your desires have just been awoken. But there's no sin. There should be no guilt. It's just now a tug, a reaction to a stimulus. But here's where the problem comes, because if we're simple and we're not smart and wise, what we do as men is leave it there a little long, because it's actually quite pleasant, isn't it? That smell of donut, that thinking about that money, that moment on the computer, whatever it is that's popped up before us. There's a certain pleasure to that, and so when we're not thinking, we leave it there just a few seconds too long, and it's all it takes for that to now conceive. And when it conceives, we've taken one more step, and we haven't fled. And when that has conceived, it then gives birth. Another step, a sin. Some reaction that we know is not just wrong before God, but is another step towards danger. It's another step towards danger. Back here, the minute desire is conceived, we as wise men should go, danger, warning, red flag up, I'm out of here, I've got to stop this now. But if you leave it, it conceives, and if you leave it, it conceives, it gives birth to sin. And when sin is full grown, because there's a point at which you have sinned, and you can make all the excuses in the world. I did not have sexual intercourse with that woman. Too late, dude. You can call it what you like. There's a point where it might not have been what they're accusing you of, but it was over the line. But then it becomes fully blown, and it's done. And when it's fully blown, it's the next step. And what does it lead to?